Hello everybody, welcome to P.B.M. Money. Today I want to talk about something that is very important to me and has completely changed the way that I do business, and it's called stewardship. When I was in the business many years ago, I was in it for the money. That's all I cared about. As a result, I made decisions that were strictly monetary. They say in life that there are givers and takers. I was a taker. So as a result, I bought cheap properties in bad areas. I put no money into them. I put anybody that had cash in, and I kicked people out if they didn't pay without giving it a second thought. I was a slumlord. It was all about the money. Now, after I got saved, I learned the biblical term good stewardship. And I spent several years digesting what that meant, looking at how that meant I needed to change in the way I did business. And I didn't get back into business. I've been saved for 20 some years. And I just got back into the business 3 or 4 years ago. Because I did not like the way I did it the first time. There were nights I couldn't sleep because I was worried about the money. It was just not I felt icky. And when I got out of the business, I vowed I never wanted to do that again. And I haven't. But I did get back into the business again. Now, there are several keys to good stewardship, and the first one is you have to trust God. When I come up against hard points in the business now, I look back and remember that God gave me the opportunity. He gave me the money. He gave me the ability to do that business. And God is not going to leave me somewhere where I'm bound to fail. So I just have to trust Him that the money will be there, the tenants will be there, the bankers will be there, the realtors will be there, everything will be there. All I need to do is listen and obey. The second part is you have to maintain your assets. In real estate, that means take care of your properties. One thing that I do different now that I didn't do the first time is right after I close on a piece of property, I go in and fix it up. I mean, the last 2 properties, I've probably put $10,000 extra in fix-ups on those properties. New flooring, new paint, new fans, dirt. I mean, I try my best to take care of the properties. Another thing that I have learned is trying to help people. There was an opportunity for my son. He also is in the business. And he said, "Hey, Dad, I know a guy that wants to rent my apartment. Should I tell the realtor about it or just rent it to him?" And without thinking about it, I said, "Absolutely not. You go tell the realtor, because this will be easy money for him. But there will be times when it's hard money and you don't want him to flake out on you, so you give him the easy money along with the hard money. You help him, and he will help you." Always reinvest in your properties or your assets. The money that you make, you should put into savings. You should try to upgrade your properties little pieces at a time. Like right after I'm done with this video, I'm going to go to Menards and I'm going to buy a refrigerator for the little house that isn't even rented yet. The refrigerator was there. The handle was broken and I could have fixed it. but it was dirty, it was old, and when I say dirty, I mean half a day cleaning dirty. I mean, it was bad. So I took that refrigerator, put it out in the garage, and that'll be just the refrigerator they can use out there to store beer or whatever. But I'm going to buy a new refrigerator, I'm going to put it in there. And by the way, refrigerators are not cheap. Another part of good stewardship is always tithe. Tithe is a word that means 10%. So take 10% and tithe that. Because God can do more with 90% than you can do with 100%. And that's a fact. So always tithe. The last book in the Old Testament talks about tithing. And if you don't tithe, God calls that stealing from Him. I don't want to steal from God. Now, I want to give you just a couple of examples of what I consider to be good stewardship. The first little house we bought had carpet in it. It was not bad, but it was worn out, and it needed to be replaced. My realtor told me I didn't need to, it wasn't going to change the rent, but I decided to go ahead and do it anyway. So we put new carpet in there, and new paint, and the guy that we rented it to has been in there almost 2 years. So he obviously loves the place, and he's a good tenant. But we upgraded the property. We put new, like I said, new paint, new carpet. So we upgraded the property before we rented it. There's another little house that we own that I'm getting ready to paint the outside of it. I've got the paint bought, I just have to find the time. But I did go up and paint all the frames of the windows black. We're going to paint the house gray. It's currently white. We're going to paint it gray. And we're going to, all the windows will be trimmed in black. So we've gone up and painted the windows already. We're just waiting to go up and paint the exterior of the house. One of the last two little houses we bought, we put in new flooring. Again, it didn't have to have it to rent it, but it did need to be done eventually, and we decided to go ahead and do it. Now the floors in the rest of the house, or half of the house, is wood floors. So we put in new flooring, wood, in the other half of the house. Now, it cost a little bit of money to do that, but the flip side of that is, from my viewpoint, I'm probably not going to have to replace flooring in that house for many, many years. Whereas the house that I told you we put the carpet in, that's probably going to need to have new carpeting when this guy moves out. And this little house where we put the wood floor in, we put gutter guards, drainage extensions, new gravel in the driveway, dirt around the house. I mean, we did a lot of things, new paint, interior, new vents. We did a lot of things to upgrade that property. That property increased in value when we were done by at least $10,000 within a matter of 2 weeks, just because we upgraded the house. Now, and it did increase the rent. I went, that little house, I went across the street actually, there was a lady moving who was a renter, and I asked her what she was paying. She was paying $600, and we just rented ours for $900. Her house was bigger, but it was in terrible shape. But because we upgraded, and because my realtor knows what he's doing, we were able to get the $900 a month rent. Well, those are just examples of good stewardship, and to the best of my ability, I am going to continue to do that. As if you watch my channel, you know that as of right now, we're in a holding pattern for the next year or two. I'm not buying anymore. That does not mean I will not take some of that money and reinvest in those properties. As an example, there is another little house that needs to be, well, two of them that need to be painted. And I'm going to do one this year, I'm going to do one next year, and maybe two, depending on how our vacancies go. Anyway, good stewardship is important. Um, it gives the rental business a little better name, because whenever you mention rental real estate to most people, they think slumlords in this area, and with good reason. My realtor has told me that most investors in this area go in and buy crappy little houses, put a little money in them, and soak as much money out until they just tear them up, and then they sell them for a crappy little price. And in the meantime, they have to deal with repairs and people not renting, and it's just a nightmare. Doing it with good stewardship and having God pick your tenants and your properties and your team, things go a lot smoother. I don't mind the business near as much now as I did the first time. The first time I hated it, and I swore I would never get back into it. Since then, I've got saved, and I've learned a biblical term of good stewardship, and I hope to pass that on so any prospective or current landlords that watch this video will understand that good stewardship might cost a little more up front, but it's worth 1,000,000 times more long term. Well, you guys have a great day, a great week, and happy stewardship.